you. While the demonstrations and protests continue here in Los Angeles, it's important to remember there are misleading videos and false claims spreading on social media. I think a lot of us here in Los Angeles know that very well from what we've seen.
Yeah, joining us now is Rona Tarrant, the executive editor of the CBS News Confirmed team. And thank you so much for joining us for this conversation.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, Rona, this is a big concern because President Trump has said that Los Angeles would have burned down if he would not have brought in the National Guard. Of course, local leaders have been reminding people that these protests have just been confined to a few blocks. But if you're not here and you're watching on social media or watching different news outlets, it's really hard to know what's actually happening.
That is exactly the point. So for any type of civil unrest, you're typically going to see the same sorts of things happening. The problem with a story like this is it's happening in real time and people are really hungry for updates. So where do they turn a lot of the time? They turn to social media. And on social media, yes, you have real images, you can get good information about what's happening on the ground, but you can also get a lot of false claims. You can get a lot of old videos, you can get AI generated images. So, one of the major issues we've seen with these protests is a lot of old images are being recycled and presented as new. So we know, for example, that there were some cars on fire at a certain point over the weekend. But what happened was people started sharing old videos of cars on fire. Now, one of these really widely shared videos was vandalized police cars set ablaze. People said this was happening on Sunday. Look at what's happening in Los Angeles. But actually, these videos were from May 2020. They were from the George Floyd protests. Now, the impact of this, they're leading people to believe that incidents are happening that are actually not happening at all. And they're also exaggerating the size and the scale of the protests, as you said. So they're claiming this is, a city, for example, engulfed in violence, rather than reality being limited to a smaller area. We're also seeing as well, we see in a lot of these stories is you see like totally unrelated images reposted on social media and used to promote conspiracy theories. So to give you one example, you may have seen on your social media images of a pallet of bricks. And people are saying these have been posted in this, these have been put in this area. They've been planted there by people who are orchestrating these protests. So our team looked into that and we actually found this image you're seeing right now. This was posted on social media and claimed to show LA. In reality, we found that it was taken from a website of a Malaysian building company. Someone ripped that image off, posted it on social media and claimed this is LA. So this is kind of one of the major things that we're seeing, and one of the problems with getting your news and information from social media is these fabricated images and these misrepresented images are mixed in with the real ones. And that's actually leading to real world consequences because it's misleading people about what's actually happening on the ground.
I think it's interesting, though, it's not just social media. It's sometimes the news outlet you have chosen to watch. And in those instances, I know it's difficult for the reporters on the scene. You want to show the action. You want to show what's happening in real time, as you said. And sometimes it looks scarier or looks bigger on TV than it actually is. How do you go ahead and confirm and vet these images that you get in and are able to then go through?
It's a great question because, when people are seeing these things on social media and we're kind of warning, don't believe everything you see, people actually start to doubt the real images that are actually out there as well and saying, well, you know what, I actually don't believe that. So one of the prominent examples this week, which was very interesting and it's actually new and different, something I haven't seen before, is people were asking the AI chatbots to vet the images for them. So Governor Gavin Newsom posted these images of these troops who were asleep on the ground of a federal building. And people, immediately when he posted them, people were tagging X's AI chatbot, which is called Grok. And they said, Grok, can you tell me if these images are real or not? Now, Grok responded and said, no, I think these images are likely old. They're likely from a different event. They're, likely Afghanistan or potentially President Biden's 2021 inauguration. This was false. These are actually real images. So our team got these images in and we were asked, could we vet them and verify them? We were able to verify them, but it took us time. It's not as fast as a chatbot giving you answers. What we did was we looked at images that were actually put out by the military when they arrived on Sunday. And they had actually posted images of this building. So what we did was we compared the images that Gavin Newsom posted to the images that were released by the military, and we found the details lined up. Now, we didn't just do that. We also looked at social media footage of this building, and we also looked at Google Maps imagery as well. And we were able to confirm without a doubt that these were taken in the loading dock area of that federal building in downtown Los Angeles, and that these were authentic. But the problem is that people saw that Grok was saying, these are old images, they're not real, and people believed that. It led to this sense of confusion on the ground. So the verification, how we vet, is actually quite intensive, and it takes some time. And that's the problem, because the misinformation can spread often an awful lot quicker.
Yes.
And often takes the truth, a little bit of time to catch up.
And then, Rona, quickly, right, you're saying how long it takes to verify these images. What does the average person do when they're scrolling on X, when they're going through Instagram, and they quickly want to get updated, but you don't know what's real and what's not? What are some really quick tips that people should be doing to see what's real?
Very quickly, number one, just pause before you share anything. Take a second, take a beat. Is this actually a new image? That's one of the biggest things you can do. I would say don't rely on social media solely to get your news. There's some great news outlets that are obviously like yourselves, who are working so hard to tell people what's happening on the ground. Go to credible sources. Don't rely on AI to check your images and videos. Go to these credible sources, and they can give you the images and the information that's actually happening on the ground. And yeah, just remember to pause. Often in these stories, there are people who are not living in Los Angeles but are online and are trying to promote conspiracy theories or misinformation or a particular agenda. So just be careful where you get your information.
All right, a very important conversation, and thank you for the work you all are doing to try to get the truth out there. Thank you.